what we brought together was just proven deployment at scale from the creative reality side, proven scalable software from the Reflex side, both 20-year companies. That synergies together allowed us to offer full end-to-end solutions. So while this session, we're going to focus in on the ad tech part of our platform that we brought on from Reflect, and really what was the history behind the need for that platform, and what trends are we following in order to create a roadmap that will protect us and future-proof us as well as all of our clients that are playing in the out-of-home space and making sure that they're staying relevant as well. With the two organizations together, we're powering over 500,000 screens in North America primarily. We do have some countries overseas, primarily in the automotive space, but that's really the world that we're playing in now. So big footprint, which I would say about 25% of those screens have some type of out-of-home media component. In front of you have our 8 different verticals that we focus in, and some of our marquee clients that are in each of those verticals. So you'll see the sports side and the entertainment side and the out-of-home side is really the area of the business that my focus is on. We do a lot in sports and arenas. We've deployed in about 38 professional sports arenas in North America and about 40 theme parks, and bringing on hundreds of family entertainment venues in 2023 to aggregate a large family entertainment network. So a lot happening in the space that we need to focus on ad tech to deliver for our clients.
Lee, I'm so sorry. In the convenience store gas subvertical, are you only doing digital menu boards or anything else?
No, we're doing both. So we're doing digital menu boards as well as engaging screens that are turning into monetized screens today. So this next slide talks about the aggregation by categories that we're focusing on, and that's the trend that we're seeing. So we're focusing on family entertainment. A lot of our traditional retailers that have national footprints are now turning on out-of-home needs. So they're selling endemic advertising to their brands that are, if you got a big box store with 100,000 square feet, you have hundreds of brands represented. Traditionally, they were spending marketing co-op dollars for merchandising their product. But now we're seeing those brands want to move from broadcast and online into store point of purchase areas. So retail is a big shift for us and a big growth area for our ad tech delivery. Theaters, of course, aggregating across multiple theater chains and networks, professional recreational sports venues. Everybody's starting to understand that they can win and get more national campaign dollars in if we all kind of hold hands here and bring in aggregation of networks. But we're seeing it be categorized. Casinos and resort properties is a big initiative right now that we're seeing and building our tech for. And then lastly, to your point, was the C-stores. So right now, we've got about 15,000 screens in C-stores. And those are, that's a daily conversation of how do I not only use it as an advertising revenue stream, but how do I use ad tech to deliver my white label product so that I can compete with the name brands that everybody's typically going in for. So there's, getting those reports, seeing the results of those reports every 30 days or on demand allows them to make decisions on what products they bring, what are they advertising in the store. Other areas that we're following are a shift in broadcast and online spend to place-based out-of-home. We talked about that earlier. Digital menu boards are now becoming media networks. So, a lot of areas like a theme park digital menu board is now turning into a media opportunity where 5 years ago, you would have only advertised Coke or Pepsi or one of the other brands that were represented or sold. Now they're bringing in partnerships that's relevant. So if a telco partnership or an automotive dealer wants to do a takeover, a 10-second takeover every 3 or 4 minutes, then we can gracefully do that, drive a Chevy across the 3 screens or something like that to where it's giving some brand exposure, but doesn't take away from the food and beverage. Programmatic growth, we all heard at the summit, the extremely bullish look at programmatic, and we all believe that programmatic is going to play a much larger part of the percentage of ad dollars. in these networks. And so we have to build technology that absorbs programmatic into our direct sales ad technology. Jason's going to talk a little bit about that next. And then a need for better inventory control. What we're going to talk about is the technology that we created out of a void in the industry when we built the very first version of AdLogic 7 years ago. And that's the next, so we'll talk a little bit about that and how the history came to be on that. These are our three main platforms at Creative Realities. We have Reflect View, which is our primary CMS platform. So this houses everything. This houses all of our smart items. Any custom feature that we provide is housed within Reflect View. That's our core CMS. And then AdLogic is a packaged product that will do all of the ad placing, tracking, reporting, and hits 100% accuracy. So there's a few things that are patented algorithms in there that answers a need that was a heavy lift from a manual effort in the industry years ago. And the Reflect Experience, or Reflect X, gives local control and template design control locally at the store level, or somebody at the corporate office that wants to control that message and quickly change the message within minutes. So those are our three main platforms. Creative Realities has a legacy platform called Clarity. Clarity is the digital mini board platform that is being absorbed into Reflect View right now. And all of that functionality will reside within Reflect View, I think around January timeframe. So the history of AdLogic, we originally built AdLogic because we had a theme park client, that's a DPAA member as well, that asked us to go integrate Reflect View with a partner in the space that we could place ads through. But it needed to do about a dozen things. And we could not find a partner that we could integrate with that did all of the things that they needed, because when you're adding advertising into a network that's primarily for guest engagement, then it's a different delivery method. And so we created AdLogic to do that. We created some unique aspects of AdLogic at the time. If a screen was down or a network was down, it automatically took the impressions from screen A and put it on screen B if it was pre-approved. So you wouldn't have make goods. You would always hit the impressions 100% of the time. So that was a need that we needed to find. Version 2 of that, we rebuilt it specifically for point of care. We spent about 2 years because there was a large client that was bringing on about 65,000 displays. And the previous version of AdLogic was close, but we needed to do a heavy overhaul in order to meet the need of the agencies that were paying through the pharmaceutical industry. Heavy scrutiny. Every state boundaries are different rules for what you can advertise, maybe a different based on a specialty offices and a general office can say two different things. So there's a lot of things that we had to work out. And then finally, where we are today is really what we were talking about at the summit. Is we have a productized version of AdLogic that is now for the masses. And so Jason's going to walk through the next few slides talking about very specific details about AdLogic and really the need that the industry had and how we've responded to it. So Jason, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to come back at the end. We're going to be available for any questions if there's time left.
Thank you, Lee. Jason Danini, Director of Product Management here at Creative Realities, and I appreciate everybody being here and for your time. So yes, AdLogic is a very exciting product and platform. Again, like Lee had stated, it's an extension of our Reflect View platform. So Reflect View does all of the, traffics all of the creatives down to the device. So what AdLogic does is manage the frequency of the ad play. So all based on the criteria that you put within the application. So typically where I like to start this conversation is around really how are you selling on your network? Are you selling based on impressions? Are you selling based on a fixed rate or a times per hour? How are you targeting your ads across that network? So all of those questions are questions that I usually ask at the very beginning when somebody is getting onboarded, so that they can understand and I can understand how to set up their network in the specific way in AdLogic to be able to take advantage of the power that you have available to you through this platform. Again, depending on how you target your network, could be the way that we set up the networks themselves to distribute the specific ad play. All of that comes back with proof of play, even when Lee had mentioned the delivery. So if a player goes offline, that's not unheard of. That's not something, it's definitely, a aspect and a reality of running a digital signage network, right? There's also multiple aspects of a device going offline. So say you lose connection, and that we have a offline capability with AdLogic to where if it's not able to communicate with the AdLogic server, it's still collecting ad play, and once it's able to reestablish its connection, sends back all of its proof of play, and then there's an online version. So if it loses connection, then it's not able to reproduce that ad play. So it starts to spread that and balance that across the network. Again, the traditional method of an approach with advertising on a digital signage network, and a lot of the folks that we talk to, right, that are looking to mature with their way that they're managing their ads on their network, is typically they're going from managing it in a playlist and trying to create a times per hour or a fixed rate within their playlist, and hopefully that they're able to manipulate that playlist to the point or to the degree that they're able to get the amount of ad play that they've promised with their contracts, right? Well, with AdLogic, it's managing all of that itself. And the way that it does that is we have a playlist, and within that playlist, you enter in opportunities for an ad to play, right? And the communication that's happening between the server and between the player is saying, okay, do I have an ad to play? That ad is available on the device, and then it lets me know, and then it tells the player, okay, I'm trying to meet this amount of impressions. This value of impressions on this device is this. So AdLogic handles all of that automation. It does all of that for you, so that over the course of, say, 30 days, you set the impressions of 1 million impressions, right? It's automatically looking at that network and saying, okay, I can play the ad this much at this place, this amount of times, and then it's constantly evaluating what inventory is available. When I say inventory, I'm talking about endpoints, right? What endpoints are available in order to get the impression values that I expect and that my advertiser expects out of the network. So that's the one thing that I really want to communicate is that is that it's automated, right? It is doing the work for you. It is not creating the need for somebody to manually go in and poke and make sure that the ads are going to play in the way that they should, because AdLogic is doing all of that, all those calculations and adjustments in real time. So that's where the patented aspect. We have 2 patents on AdLogic, and the way that we're specifically trafficking ads on a digital signage network. So we own those patents and secondarily, and recently we've got programmatic integrations with the Place Exchange. So and the way that is integrated as a remnant integration. So your direct sales take priority, whenever you're scheduling ads on the network, and then the programmatic side and the programmatic availability of that inventory is based on what's available outside of what your direct sales have been. So you have the ability to manage all of that inventory within the Place Exchange, and all of that goes through the same pipes, the same infrastructure, right, that we've got set up for our direct sales through AdLogic, through ReflectView, through that distribution to make all of that ad play happen. So Lee, will you go into the next? So again, getting in, I got into the mechanics of how it works right? You have a UI that you go in and you can set up specific for clients if you want them to have access to upload their creatives. You don't want to be a middle person between the advertiser and whoever's scheduling. You could give them access through a role-based user for them to be able to update their creatives directly into the system, and just give them the ability to do that only. And then you can go back with role-based permissions and say, or a role, and say, okay, I'm reviewing all of these look good. I can start setting up the actual criteria for how this ad is going to play back. So all of that is managed in the specific UI for advertising only, right? It's not intermixed with, your normal playlist configuration and all of that. This UI is specifically and concentrated on, managing ad play. So you, again, I think going back to the levers that you can pull, like for a fixed rate or impressions, obviously you're going to need a rated network, and that's another question that we have to ask when consulting with somebody that's wanting to monetize their network, is having a rated value for each one of these endpoints, because that's table stakes, as everyone knows on this call, to playing in the world of programmatic. You have to have an independent rating, right? So that goes to inform what the impression values are for these endpoints, and that's all configured. That's a part of the configuration when we're onboarding. The creative management we covered, and then the network management. Again, you can segment the network based on region, or however that you're selling your advertising. It's flexible to allow you to be able to target the network in any way that the business or the advertisers themselves are looking to target their ad play to. So this is just a quick shot of the creative UI. Again, very simple. Just add a new creative. It gives you some information around the date that it was added, which client it was added for. So again, it creates some silos around the specific client. So when you're creating a line item or an order, you're only pulling for creatives from that client. You're not going to mistakenly grab another client's creative to pull into the order. So again, it's creating some checks and balances to make sure that when you're setting up this ad play and setting up these line items, you have the ability to review them before they go live. And there's also approval-based permissions as well. So you can again with roles, you can apply those roles and have a set of users that are reviewing any of the ad play before anything goes live. So again, we thought about again the use case of somebody coming in and needing to manage it from outside of our organization or within the organization that's managing it directly. We have the flexibility to allow you to get into the application. And if you're responsible for the entire digital signage network, our whole ecosystem is available to you. Or if you're just focused on ad play, this is your UI and this is what you would work with on a daily basis. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but that was the quick overview of AdLogic, and there's a lot more to it. And would love to dive deeper for anybody else that's interested in learning some more information about what it can do. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. The last thing I'll say is that one thing that we've learned throughout the years is that I was a buyer of Reflex platform at Berkshire Hathaway for years and Omnicom before that. And the issue that we kept running into is we'd have great ideas and then we'd have to wait for the roadmap that Jason owns here of, releasing 2 times a year, waiting for that feature to maybe get it in or not. So we've created something called Spark that allows for a brand to create their own custom development within our platform. So it really gives a brand or an agency control when they can have access to the end result. So just wanted to put that on there as we, as an industry, knows that there's daily changes, and sometimes we're restricted from our technology partner on their roadmap schedule. And so looking for a platform that allows you to take that control is just something to keep your eyes open as you move forward. So Barry, that's really what we had. I've got shots of case studies and things like that, but would love to open it up to questions or anything next.
Please, let's get some questions. What these folks are doing is great for the industry. The software, the business, the strategies are really helping to accelerate us to deliver to media owners, to advertisers, agencies, and programmatic as well. Those are some of your partners. Patient Point, Six Flags is the theme park you're referring to previously, and Cedar Fair, of course, and it all looks great. And you're also networking regular kind of restaurant signage as well, which is also terrific. Questions, anybody? Just speak up. It's okay.
Jason, Lee, Ben Abatello of HiveStack. I'm our global SVP of Publisher Solutions. I've worked with a few different SSPs and led SSPs in video before. What's your stance on, are you agnostic? Is the platform agnostic for buying opportunities with maybe other SSPs besides the Place Exchange in the form of some interoperability?
That's a great question. So when we designed AdLogic 7 years ago, we saw that there was a big enough need to create an open-ended architecture. So AdLogic is really built. We could integrate that with even another CMS. We could integrate into other programmatic partners. So we own the IP. We can control all the custom tie-ins, and with Spark, it allows us to make a quicker connection. So to answer your question, yes, we are available to expand into any client that has a need into a certain area.
Well, Lee and Jason, let's speak after this, one-on-one, because I think you're just an endpoint where we could come in and connect. And I think the way the ecosystem is going through mediation layers like that us and others are trying to standardize, this is a great way of doing so. So I look forward to connecting with you, and we're agnostic too on the player side. So it makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I look forward to connecting.
Yeah, the mediation layers are important. Many of you saw Andreas's presentation with Mike Rassick from Prebid, and it's critical that we bring transparency to the industry. So thanks for bringing that up. Other questions?
And this is a comment. This is Maroon. I'll make, and it ties to the conversation that we're having. The programmatic is going to take a good chunk of the overall ad inventory, hopefully eventually, in addition to the direct, in a way where we can help you fill 100% of the ad inventory, not 50% or whatever. And so in that regard, to the extent that the screen become aware, audience aware, contextual aware, AI, anything aware, it becomes really, really important. Lee, I sent you a private note in the chat. Let's chat offline. We can help you figure out how to enable your screen to become aware. And again, at the end of the day, we're moving away from one to many type of media, and I don't believe you are that. It's one to a select audience, and so to the extent that whether it's a direct sponsored ad or programmatic ad, but it's optimized to play for the most relevant audience. And so the being able to process data locally at the edge in real time around context, object detection, audience detection, and you have a very complex CMS. I mean, I'm very familiar with Reflect systems, and so it has the ability to optimize based on the audience, based on context and what have you. Let's talk offline. Maybe you're there already, but if you need any help, we at Intel are absolutely ready to help you out.
Yeah, I would love to continue that conversation. I believe that Matt Schmidt, our original founder and architect of the platform, has had pretty in-depth conversations with you guys, and would love to continue that.
Great.
Yeah, Intel is one of our great members and actually DPW board members that really give willingly to all of our members their consulting practice, their tech, their software, their hardware expertise. And thank you again, Maroon, for pitching in. By the way, do you want to just release it so we can go full screen here, Lee, and see if there's any other questions? I see we have Dylan, who had a wonderful published piece this week. Very nice, Dylan. You're becoming a scribe in your own right, and
Thanks,
I like
Barry. Good
that
to see
white
you.
baseball cap.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. That's becoming your signature, the baseball cap. I like that, actually.
Going by the white hat. Yep.
You're one of the good guys. We know that. We know that. Other questions or thoughts? Nick Costin, nothing from you today, eh?
No, this is really a little bit higher tech, and I'm enjoying it because I'm learning a lot more. And I've been taking notes. I'm also writing all the names down because I'm seeing what everybody's wearing.
Excellent.
That doesn't bother anybody, but just kidding.
I do
But
have
this
a
is good.
question. So
Go
one of
ahead.
the things that we're getting approached by more and more people with owned media. You have obviously media networks that are out there to sell to other folks, but even brands that have are part of like a larger umbrella corporation that have other brands, products within them that are trying to then monetize that sort of trade. Are you working with any providers, or is there anything that some of us, including myself, could help with as far as understanding own media value? That's something that I think a lot of the digital signage folks have obviously understood as far as like foot traffic and stuff like that, but is looking at owned media as a media resource that can be bought and sold or traded between groups. And be curious about how your clients are thinking about their screens as well.
Yeah, Dylan, that's a great question. In regard, we do have one network that we really control that environment, which is at Cedar Fair, where we're kind of the sales expert and need to bring the value. So we'll engage a third party to create that. Outside of that organization, we try to connect. If a brand or client does need a connection point, we'll make an introduction. But typically, we give them the ability to leverage their strategy with the platform. And so it's kind of a hands-off approach outside of the one network that we're really controlling. Now, we like to be at the table with them because we can sometimes, that's what's driving our roadmap, is a need that they have. And so we're glad to know more people and make more introductions directly to our customers. Because if all of them are trying to figure it out, right? They're at the summit and they're at the different industry events trying to figure this out, but we can't talk to everyone. So we'd be happy and love to bring others in as those needs come up. But they typically, 90% of our groups typically run their own strategy, and they leverage the technology and let us know what they need.
Excellent. Thank you.